So we're going to talk about agencies. We're going to talk about different types of agencies and the questions that we get from clients. This is kind of like a behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's not generally, publicly put out there. A lot of, whether it's freelancers or agencies, will keep a lot of this stuff kind of hush hush. So we want to kind of just break that mold and throw some stuff out around pricing, contracts, fees, engaging with an agency, engaging for services, what that looks like as a whole.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with pricing.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it to you. What have we got to say?
Yeah. So a lot of people, when people first inquire with us, a lot of them haven't previously been to an agency before, engaged with an agency. Others have, but a common thing we do receive is they are quite stunned at how much it does cost, not only just for us to manage or an agency to manage their services, but also the investment they need to put into their marketing to actually show up on Google Ads or
For sure.
SEO, whatever it is they're investing into. So there is a cost to it, because if you are engaging with a good agency or an independent freelancer who does have experience in the field, people forget about how long it's taken them to get to that position of where they can build a website that's fully functional, SEO optimized, or run a successful Google Ads campaign. So there is a cost to it, and it is a bit expensive, but it is ultimately worth it if you do have the money there to invest into it.
I think that's that, just organically talking on this and keeping it cruisy, but it is that understanding, right? Like if you're if you're engaging with an accountant, you're $150, $200 an hour. If you're investing in a plumber or a electrician, you're in that range of expecting somebody of years of experience to be at that threshold of $100 to $200 an hour. So when you're engaging with an agency looking for services, whether it's for ads, paid media, social media marketing, organic web design, whichever service that you're looking to engage with, if you're expecting on that hourly rate to be around that $100 to $200 an hour, how many hours do you think it takes per month to fulfill the services that you're engaging for? When you start reverse engineering that, that's where you start getting these, management fees of $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 very quickly. And rightly so. It's similar. Like I had an example the other day. I had a electrician come out and check. We had an issue with our dishwasher at home or something. It was like tripping the power. And we got an electrician to come out and check it, and there was very little to change. It was more of just a connection issue, nothing that actually had to be replaced. And it was $400 or $500. And he was probably there for like half an hour.
But you trust their expertise.
But it's the expertise and trust, right? So I think it's just some people, some businesses still might be in that mindset of expecting a website for $500, expecting a website for even $1,000 to $2,000. When you think of the amount of time that needs to go into it to do it well, to do it to an expertise of, for us, what we deliver, we're delivering a standard that is, phenomenal, that it's going to come with that cost to it. So I think that's kind of that misconception on costs. I think another way to look at it as well is, even though that there can be an expense, it doesn't mean that that expense is exorbitant or is the wrong way to go. The reason I say that is, like, when you start looking at bringing marketing in-house, it's expensive. If you're looking at senior digital marketing experts, somebody with 4 or 5, 5, 6 years of experience in this field, it's going to have a cost to your salary, and your expertise sits in one skill set. But then when you start then bringing a web designer in, and you bring a paid specialist in, and social media, all of a sudden you're talking a team of 4 or 5, and then looking at engaging an agency in a retainer or engaging an agency to be able to do multiple services, then actually quite quickly becomes far more cost effective for the business. So pricing's an interesting one. It can be expensive, but better than in-house in a lot of cases.
And if you want quality, I think another thing, another misconception that people have, maybe it's an old sort of mindset, is that you know, like you were saying, people go to an accountant.
Yeah.
They're willing to pay whatever, get the job done.
Yeah.
They go to a lawyer, pay whatever, you know, get the job done.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like marketing has this weird sort of stigma around it of like, you know, everyone knows they need marketing, but it's like some people may think, oh, just, you know, just pay $500 for a website and just get the website done and dusted and say we've got a website. Whereas, you know, digital marketing is becoming such an important, vital thing for businesses, especially in our day and age, where it's like it's an asset for a business.
Yeah.
Or not just a website, but, you know, getting leads, lead acquisition. It's so important. And if you want a solid job done, you're going to have to, you know, invest money into it. It's not just a thing that you can sort of skimp out on.
Yeah, I get that. It's like you don't skimp on your tools if you're in the trade space, right? You don't skimp on your signage for your building and your bricks and mortar.
Yeah.
You don't skimp on your packaging
for
your fast moving goods or anything that's in, you know, on the shelves. You spend the money on it.
Yeah.
So I think if people looked at marketing and their digital assets and their marketing in that same mindset, then there would be less of that balk at the price.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, pricing.
That's pricing.
That's pricing. Hit me with another. What are we going to go next?
Contracts.
Yep.
Is one.
Yep.
If you wanted to take the lead on this.
Yes, agencies and freelancers do this differently. It's starting to shift from what we can see. Generally, agencies did contracts. That was the way that it worked. 12 months, even 24 months. I've seen some at 36 months. Even recently, I heard of a 36-month contract in digital marketing, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That is a long time. That's a big contract.
That's a big commitment.
I don't know what legs that's got, but that's a big commitment.
Yeah.
But the 12-month contract is quite common still.
Yeah.
Look, there's a lot of agencies that are starting to change that. We've never done the contract thing. I don't like the idea of contracts. It's just the way that we do business. It was always a USP for our agency and something that we never wanted to, you know, drive down. We feel that we know that business just changes so rapidly, and having somebody committed to a X amount of spend and X amount of investment over a course of 12 months isn't the right thing to do by the business that's engaging.
No.
Not to do with us as an agency, to do with the business that is engaging. So that's the reason we've not done it. But the contract thing is still a thing. So, you know, whether you are looking for an agency or if you're investing in an agency, I guess that's something to consider of, if there's contracts, what benefit is there to the contract? You know, there might be value add that agency or freelancer can offer, being that you've got that commitment to the 12 months, but definitely making sure that you kind of go through that documentation first. The amount of clients that come to us that go, we're ready to onboard, and then next minute they can't. They've still got 3 months, or they've still got 6 months left. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But make sure that you're transparent with whoever you're engaging with.
Yeah.
To make sure that you know where you stand. So if you are looking to, you know, pivot, change, transition, or the economy just isn't, you know, viable for the amount that you're spending, that you're not in a position of where it's going to be detrimental to the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to touch on the contracts, like you said, we don't have contracts here in the agency. Yeah. I think it's, well, for myself working in SEO, I like the fact we don't have contracts, because it makes you work. It gives you that pressure in your mind.
Yeah, sure.
And I love it. I do like working under pressure.
Yeah.
But it gives you that pressure to be like, I need to absolutely ace this account month on month to keep this client coming back. And it's just, I don't know, it just gives you that extra push, and then and then having the client stay on for a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
You can tell, like, they obviously trust our service, and we're delivering them the results they're looking for, and they choose to continue to engage with us, rather than the opposite effect of being like, no, you've just signed this contract, you have to stay with us. It just doesn't have that.
We do see that. It's quite common, and there's a lot of agencies that do, you know, long-term contracts and do a fantastic job as well.
Yeah.
But it is a common trend of where you see that influx of work within the first month, 2 months of the onboarding, and then goes quiet. And then you see the influx of work at the end for the retention.
Yeah.
And you see these seasonal activities based on when your contract is. And that's actually the reason we didn't put it in. being on that we don't want seasonal communication or seasonal urgency on your contract or your engagement, I should say, sorry. Whereas we do see that with long-term contracts. So that's exactly the reason behind why we don't do it as a USP, but what we also see from others.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Well, from that, what else we got on the list?
Reporting.
Yeah. Okay.
Reporting.
Different for different agencies. I guess we can talk about reporting and account management. Generally, you'll get an account manager with an agency. Again, different agencies do this differently. Some people will do like a customer success manager. So you've got kind of like one central person and contact to go and kind of like traffic manage. So they'll go, all communication goes to one person that distributes to the agency. Others work on a direct management basis. So, you just talk direct to the person that's working on the account. We work that way. You just talk direct to the account manager, the person that's doing the work. And then the reporting's, it's so different for so many different agencies, whether it's, you can have monthly meetings. Some will do fortnightly meetings. Some will do 3 monthly meetings.
Yeah.
Some have an open door policy. Some have an hourly limit. Some is X amount of requests a month. Everyone's very different in comms. And the reporting. So you report at the end of the month. Some can be fully automated and it just gets sent to you, and then others have manual work and where there's
more personalized.
Personalized from the account manager and so on. So I'm not here to spruik the way that we do things or us as an agency. That's not the point for this content. This video is more about just giving you the baseline of all the different options out there. So communication, comms, reporting, meeting schedules is vastly different. I'd always just say, just check whoever you're working with, what sort of access that you get. I think it's probably the best takeaway from it.
And then make sure the amount of contact you have with the agency is the amount that you like
to meet your requirement.
Meet your requirements. Yeah,
no, I get that. Yeah, definitely. It is one of those. We have different businesses that have different, capacities of time that's available to them, right? So some businesses, some owners, whether it's marketing managers, etc., whoever's being involved with the connection to the agency, some want to be heavily involved, some don't. So I guess aligning your involvement and your requirements with what the agency is going to provide you to make sure that it doesn't get to a point of where you're asking for meetings or asking for communication and it's outside of the engagement. Maybe that is a good thing to consider when you are engaging a third party or a partnership. So. Cool.
Definitely.
I think got one more on the list. What do we got?
Unique selling points.
USPs. Yeah. So most agencies will have some form of USP, or a freelancer will have USPs. So, I guess understanding what those values are, it's probably the key thing that makes an agency different to another. Most agencies do the same thing. They offer the same services. Pricing's going to be similar. I'd like to say expertise is similar as well, but arguably there's going to be some senior people and juniors in agencies, so it's going to be slight different. But there is going to be these things that are going to be USPs, which are the unique selling point to the business of why the business feels that they stand above maybe their competitors or something that they do differently. We've got a couple, which is, ours is very strong in communication. We've got our integrity and we've got our relationships. And then we've got our point of excellence. So we've got these kind of key pillars that the agency sits upon that we know that we're going to always have full integrity in every decision that we make. We know that every delivery that we're going to do is always going to be an excellent standard. And then we're about relationships. So we're about having that communication with clients. We're about having the meetings when required and meeting them where they meet us equally.
Every decision we make goes through those.
Exactly. So I guess understanding the USPs to a business, some might be very, data driven and just have, whether it's tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of accounts of data that they can lean on, or millions, if not billions of dollars of ad revenue that they've been able to manage over a course of periods of time. There's some very large agencies out there. They're all going to have something that will be unique to them. Some of which might even be unique industries that they work in. Some may favor, hospitality. Some may favor healthcare and medical. Some may favor, e-commerce, look for those things, because when an agency is more confident or a freelancer is more confident to own a position, it generally due to experience or past experience. So there's always benefit in that. You know, we don't lean heavily into e-commerce. It's not our experience. We've got experience in it, but it's definitely not where we've got the majority of our experience. So being that we have full integrity and we convey that to businesses. So yeah, USPs are important, and I think they're probably one of the big things that you should look for when you're looking to engage.
Awesome.
Anything to add?
I think you've covered it
That was
all.
good?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thanks for joining us on this one. See you next time.